Let's not forget, yesterday was also a big day for the migrants in New York and cribbage players all around the world when the luxurious new migrant tent opened its doors on Randall's Island. We got an inside look at New York's most exclusive hotspot, and it looks nicer than any of my staff's apartments. There's fresh popcorn, with the movie butter, of course. There's even a brand new foosball table, all the culturally appropriate games federal funding can buy. And on top of it all, a huge game room that looks more like a Vegas sports book. Giant TVs, cozy couches, Xboxes, free meals, dry cleaning service, you name it, they have it. So, what do all the American homeless in New York think about this new migrant high-rise? Well, we sent Johnny out to get their reactions.
Do I think that Jesse Waters cares about the homeless besides using them as a prop for this political battle? No, I don't. But where I'm going to take this, so I'm not showing the clips of the homeless reaction. I don't know where to go with that yet. That will have to be a separate discussion. But I do want to talk about this government spending. They got Xboxes, they got movie popcorn and all that. My parents are immigrants. They're legal immigrants, but they're people. So I want them to be taken care of in some way, shape, or form or fashion. But they don't need an Xbox. They don't need movie popcorn. They don't need dry cleaning. And they don't need all of those things. That is bloat. That is government spending. I have this shirt on right now. It's MAGA versus the machine. You can get it at middlemaga.com. Go to the store. The reason why I have that is because that's what really we're really up against right now. And MAGA, to me, doesn't matter if you're right or left or whatever. It's just MAGA is just you won't bend the knee. So the machine is everything, even ignorant citizens. Not that I'm against ignorant citizens, but the machine turns the ignorant as a part of them because the machine is a very small number. We're talking about the people who run things and rule things, and they're the shakers and the movers behind the politicians, even above the politicians. They're a small number of people. They can't rule things unless they can control a lot of the population. And here we go. We have this discussion on Twitter, and Lauren Boebert tweeted this, and she said, "Illegals should not be given anything, let alone a game room." I think that's common sense. I mean, who's disagreeing with that? Continuing, these illegals are living better than many Americans, and that is absolutely ridiculous. Enough is enough. And I'm not even ready to go to that they're living better angle. It's just unnecessary government spending. That's all I want to say from that. Because there's always going to be people who are homeless for whatever reason, and I can't always use them as a barometer. But and I still don't know the Republican answer to that. So I'm not clear on what your answer is to the people who aren't living as well, even though I like a lot of the MAGA stuff. But I think ending the Federal Reserve and all that is great, but I don't think it's still an answer. But when we go to it, we're having the discussion on it. So I go on and I say, wait a second, this is some crazy government spending. I say it all comes down to the Federal Reserve printing money. Without that, none of this is possible. So somebody replies to me and says, a city, this is Bob from accounting, a city spending money is the Federal Reserve printing money. And then he does the meme where he's like, what do you mean? What does that mean? Like he's trying to say that I'm not making any sense because it's local spending. Bro, where do you think this money is coming from? They don't have the money locally, even in New York, and they're losing money with people leaving the city and the state. They don't have the money to deal with this. Never have. A city spending the money absolutely is the Federal Reserve printing money. Here is the mayor of New York begging the federal government for money. Otherwise, this isn't sustainable. So he's in a press conference telling the federal government, I can't do this without you giving me more money. They already got money, but I need more money. Where do you think this money comes from, bruh?
Reach some of the help we have asked for. We've received it, but we need more. We are at the edge of the precipice. We need serious partnership and realistic solutions. As I have said before, we need help, and we need it now.
So he hasn't even brought up money yet. You already know where he's going. This is just corporate speak. He's going to spell it out later in a second. But when I would watch this live, I was waiting for where the money's going to come. He had to start off by blaming Texas for it. He said he needed better communication and coordination. Wait, what? These are people coming unannounced. What do you mean preparation and coordination? They're not announcing to New York. Why do you need an announcement? And you're a sanctuary city.
So today, we're issuing a clear message. The time for aid to New York is now. We need help from the federal government, help from the state of New York. New York City is doing our part, and now others must step up and join us. From our federal partners, we need legislation that will allow these asylum seekers to legally work now.
See, he could also say we need reform to the asylum laws. He could also say, just like Don Dada did, Daddy Trump, Trump said, hey, and Peter Navarro, you're going to have to stay your ass over here while we review your asylum claim. I have no problem. So here's my thing with it. And the reason why is they don't have enough judges. It sounds like the court system is so backed up, it takes years to hear their case. We can only allow people into the crib, our country, as quickly as we can process, vet them out, and get them through the court system. So if you want to hire a bunch of judges to review it, then and they can do it same day, then fine, let them in. But we can't. So they can't come in. I don't care if they're claiming asylum or not. So he could have said that too, but nope. He says, well, we need to get them to work. Okay, I agree with that if we have the ability to do the court cases right away.
Not in 6 months.
And where would that come from? That would come from more money to hire more judges, very expensive, whole process. Where does that come from? Government spending, where does that come from? The Federal Reserve, that was my initial take. None of this is possible without printing money.
We need a realistic decompression strategy at the border that will slow the outflow of asylum seekers. We need a coordinated effort to move asylum seekers to other cities in this country to ensure everyone is doing their part.
When he says realistic decompression strategy, he's not talking about coming from the border to the country. He's talking about coming from Texas or other border states to New York. That's my impression of that. He's not, because he would have spelled out they could stay their ass in their country until. He didn't say that. So maybe he's trying to hem and haw about that and be gray about it. Maybe he could mean that, but I didn't take it that way. The whole speech here, this was a very important speech. He was talking about Texas basically sending the buses there. They got buses of about 20,000 at this point. That's it. They get more than that in a day down there.
And Congress must pass emergency financial relief for our city and others. Finally,
that was the money. Congress must pass. I don't know what kind of coordination effort he's talking about to make sure cities across the country provide support. I don't know what that is, but I would like him to spell that out. But there's the ask for the money, the Federal Reserve basically
is doing their part. And Congress must pass emergency financial relief for our city and others. Finally, we need a bipartisan effort to deliver long-awaited immigration reform so we can offer people a safe and legal path to the American dream. We need to help here at home, also from our New York State.
So you see why I think he's not talking about stopping the stem of people coming over. At the end there, he's like, we need a quicker process, meaning I think he just means make them legal. I think that's what he means, but I would like him to flesh that out. And he's been on interviews and he's very vague with it. So that's what I'm talking about, bro. With that, you go back to it even before Trump. This is a 2016 report, part 1, stating federal funds into America's 106 sanctuary cities, $26.741 billion. These cities that are sanctuary cities, including Martha's Vineyard, New York City, all these places, they got paper, they got paid. Here's the report. You look at the top cities: New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Diego, Dallas, and their population and their total federal spending. This report again was in 2016. So look at that, $8 billion here for New York City. $500 million for Los Angeles. So New York was getting $8 billion for what? They're not even a border town. I know it's a very diverse city, a lot of immigrants. My parents are Jamaican. A lot of legal and illegal immigrants went to Jamaica. You know, that's where a lot of Jamaicans are, and even in Cleveland, Ohio. But $8 billion in 2016, that was hella paper they were getting from the federal government to be a sanctuary city. So I'm going to end with this. They're coming up with they're going to have to vote on or decide on the debt ceiling here soon. It's time to tell the federal government no on spending. So you've got to be very careful where you're spending money. We look at stuff and we're seeing $20,000 going to here for this gender program in another country. And it's like, wait a second. If you have to cut the budget, everybody at home has to cut their budget down and say, well, do we really need this subscription to the car wash? Do we need this Netflix? Do we need this? We need to go down the list. Do the immigrants coming here need Xboxes? Just use your common sense. Come on, y'all. Let me know what you think. Take care.